everybody, Rich Mr. Thrive and Survive. If you don't know what we're talking about here in this video, please see my last video. I will now put a link in the upper right hand corner up here so that you can look at my last video. It's not a long video. I think it's under 4 minutes. We are looking at a picture that Soundly took. His YouTube name is just simply Soundly as here, so you can go and check his channel out if you like. I see he did a rebuttal video to this. I haven't even looked at it. Doesn't matter what's said there. You know what's totally incredible? I mean, God gives me all kind of incredible coincidences. The Columbo episode you just saw, I just saw like 2 or 3 days ago. I've got the complete Columbo collection. I threw that disc in and watched it. Can you believe that? So what did I do to figure out that this was a trick? Well, I said in my last video that one, you have a big bulge supposedly here in the middle, and you don't have the water rushing to shore. How is that possible? Because gravity is supposed to be equally throughout the earth. Oh, I got some interesting comments on that too. It all points, everything pulls towards the center of the earth, but you see you have more tonnage in the middle here, so it would flow to the edges. See my last video. So I don't know how this trick is done, mostly because I didn't have the knowledge. Remember this, knowledge is power. I now have the knowledge of knowing at least one of the ways this was done. My understanding is it can be done several ways. So Soundly gave some information in his video about what lenses he used and different things like that. It wasn't extremely specific. I don't know the exact camera. I don't know the exact lenses or different things like that. But guess what, guys? I went to a camera shop and I took this picture there. And the first thing the lady noticed was that exactly what I said in my last video. Notice how the horizon is flat and even over here, but it is not over here. And there's also a very interesting video, and I don't have the whole right side on over here. One of the comments was that the camera was pointed to the left side. That's why we see the right thing over here, but it's not distorted over here, or this is a distortion. Well, the camera is right in the middle. Let me drag this over. See, I'm not showing you all of it. So you have right in the middle, so this flat area is equally away from the center as this left, if not even farther away. So that's a stupid excuse. I mean, it's amazing what cognitive dissonance will bring. So I went to a camera shop and I was like, how can I duplicate this? And I was told I probably wouldn't be able to maybe duplicate it exactly, but I could get very close. And guess what? There's many different ways to do this. Many. I had no clue. But I'm going to play for you what the camera lady told me at the store, and I'll be back.
So you have a tilt shift lens and you can adjust perspective. This is intended to correct lines, but you can do the opposite and add some sort of distortion or manipulation to the perspective. So by tilting and shifting, you can take this in both directions and actually move the lens around, and then you can make some really fine-tuned adjustments to the scene that you're looking at. And these go in all directions. And then depending on the focal length, in this case this is a 17mm, that's a wide angle lens on a full frame camera, you can see the scene differently.
You can manipulate the perspective of the horizon, the different curves and things
Absolutely,
like that.
Yeah. And in that case, there's a bridge in that photo. That's a really easy. Oh, not me.
Okay, not you. Okay.
That's a really easy thing to manipulate.
That's a really easy thing to manipulate.
Okay.
Because it's a really defined structure, we expect to see it one way, so it's easy to manipulate it. That way we see it a little bit different way with something like this.
Okay. Fantastic. Thank you.
So I own a tilt shift lens. I think it's a really fun way to alter things. I don't use it the way it was intended. I used to shoot architecture and I used it that way to correct lines, but now I use it to distort and make things different.
Okay, so I could create across that bridge that I showed you, the kind of angles that you saw in there?
Yeah, you might not be able to get it exactly that way, but you can certainly come up with something really interesting. And you can definitely alter it because it is what we expect to see, fairly a straight line going across. But you can tilt and shift.
Would that explain why the left side looks tilted but the right side looks flat?
It looks like that and then goes like that, yeah.
Okay.
But he's doing it in a different way. This is just one other. You know, there's
Several ways to do
always
it.
more ways than one to do anything almost in the world. So this is just another way to achieve maybe something similar.
Okay.
And they do rent these.
Oh, downstairs?
Yeah. Now I don't know if they have the 17. I would imagine
Here's
they
that
would.
leather.
Now, at this point, people were beside me on both sides and speaking, and it was extremely difficult to hear the rest, but you got the gist of it right there. So what I can do is I can and will, and by the way, guys, the GoFundMe thing, that's just a flush out. As Q says, these people are stupid. It's been a long time since I flushed out any of the you're just doing this for money type of thing, or you're scamming people. So I did flush out at least one, so... Oh, anyway, you got to play more than 3D chess with this, but it's not, you don't even have to play 3D. You can play 2D chess and flush out the trolls. Anyway, so I'm not even sure if I need to go to New Orleans to duplicate this, but that's still the plan. I'll go there. I'll rent this. Well, you talk about expensive to rent these things, but the camera itself that you recommended, which I will tell you, is the... let's see here, because he filmed it in 4K. I don't necessarily have to film it in 4K, but if I want to do it exactly, I would do the Canon 5D Mark IV, which rents for $450 a week, but I'll try to find a place in New Orleans where I can rent it for a day. And then we have the the 6D Mark II, which is $330 a week, and then the Canon 17mm tilt shift is $135 a week to rent that lens. The interesting thing is, what I didn't get the first time, I had to repeat pretty much, but she actually showed me exactly what dials to turn and everything to be able to pretty much get the exact same thing he did. Now let's take a look.